Get help! Get help!
Wrong movie, bro. What movie did you watch?
Hey, it's the same thing they do in this one.
Did you watch the good one?
Oh,
I think it's gonna be. Whoa! Hey, we're gonna talk about. Speaking of the good one, like the cast in this movie, it's a good one.
Pretty stacked.
It's a good one. Yeah.
We
Is
talk
it a
about
good movie
that,
though? Who knows?
We're gonna, yeah.
So this is the Marvel movie that I know as well known as one of the worst, right? Everyone thinks that it's this one, The Incredible Hulk. Those are the worst ones. For the longest time, these were considered the worst movies. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, whenever you see a list of the MCU ranked, pretty much from like the years of 2015 to 21,
Yeah.
MCU movies ranked, this movie, Thor the Dark World, is at the very bottom of that
See,
list.
it's like abysmal. What?
Right, so
Whoa.
we're here to kind of flesh that out. But for those of you who haven't seen it in a long time, or maybe have never seen it, Ethan, as always, summarize this movie. What's the story, Ethan?
This one I'm going to go off the dome, right? Just what I've seen. This movie is about Thor. It's about the Dark World. We start with a narration from our man Odin himself, telling us about who these dark elves are and who Malekith is, right? And how they were seemingly were defeated. But then no, we get some portal stuff going on with Jane Foster. She's on a date with this dude. Stellan Skarsgård's running around, or not Skarsgård. Well, what's his name?
The naked one or the
naked guy.
Oh, yeah,
Skarsgård. It is.
He's running around naked. It's great. He's got some PTSD from the Avengers stuff. All right, whatever.
Cat Denning stuff and
We got Loki captured recently from the Avengers movies. He was actually written into this movie because of how loved he was.
Oh.
So it's great to have him in this movie. But yeah, long story short, Malekith comes back, played by the Ninth Doctor himself.
Christopher Eccleston,
Yeah.
man. No
And
way.
He kills Frigga, unfortunately.
He
Very
does some
sad.
stuff, yeah.
And then he tries to, as the title says, make the world dark using the ether.
not
which-
just the world, all nine
realms, right. And he uses the ether, which I don't know if they had the plan in this movie, but later becomes the reality gem or reality stone, as they call
I
it.
think, if I'm not mistaken, they did because of the post-credit scene.
Yeah, the
But
first
did they
mention
know-
of the Infinity Stone.
Did they know which stone?
Good
I
point,
think
good
they're
point.
like, generically, this could be one of the, because there's
Are the colors the same in the comics?
no.
No. Okay.
And they're called gems in the comics. They're not even stones. So the colors don't match, but the power set matches. So I think this could have been the Power Stone once upon a time, maybe. I think however it worked into the script was how they did it. But yeah, we get our third, I guess, technically, stone introduction in the MCU.
Tesseract,
Mind Stone,
Mind
Loki's
Stone,
scepter.
and then I think this is the reality
The
stone.
ether,
The
as they
ether.
call it in this movie. Yeah.
A big fluid thing. But overall, I mean, yeah, that's basically, you've got Dark Elves, you've got Thor, he's back, man, he's looking all muscly in that one shot, or it pans up across his body.
watching himself.
Just a gratuitous, just a freaking
Just a
beast.
hog of
yeah.
a boy.
Like,
This is
come
my
on,
movie.
dude. Making me feeling all like, I gotta start hitting the
I
gym,
gotta
man.
eat healthier,
Let's
man.
all do this.
That's good. It's healthy, though. It's good. But, gentlemen, this movie, as we said, critically maligned. What do we think, though?
Maligned.
Actually, you know what? What does the internet think?
What does the internet think? Yeah, we can start with that. So, do we want to start with our Hollywood Reporter rating? Because that's
of
Hollywood
course.
Reporter.
Of
That's one of the
course.
lists
They
that
are
matters the most,
the
right?
definitive ranking.
Oh, funny enough, this movie lands right next to another movie with Dark in its title.
Oh,
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, the Marvel movie, The Dark Knight. No.
It's basically
Dark Phoenix
just as good.
Dark Phoenix is directly next to this
come
movie.
on.
Is it better or worse?
Dark Phoenix
Is worse?
is definitely worse,
Is worse. Okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Humbly.
So Dark Phoenix is 49.
Oh.
Thor: The Dark World is 48.
Oh, okay. Slightly better.
Yeah, just below The Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 47.
So
Weird.
okay.
This, as we know, is the famous Hollywood Reporter article. Who go read yourself, listeners. they have takes.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
They have
out of
takes.
70, this one is in the lower half. Now, according to the internet, let me go through our internet scores here. So we have our Rotten Tomatoes critic score is a 66%. Audience is 75. Metacritic is a 54. Metacritic users a 7.0. IMDb is a 6.8. And Letterboxd is a 2.4 out of 5, giving us an average of 63, putting it in 44th place. Similar to the
63.
Hollywood Reporter rating.
Yeah, this movie's definitely not, at least according to the internet, the greatest thing in the
It's
world.
not hot stuff. Yeah.
Right. But again, as we always say, none of that crap matters.
Cares. No one
We're
cares.
making the ultimate list here.
We got
Not Hollywood
this.
Reporter.
Yeah. Come on.
Not the internet. We are the internet.
So, I'll shoot
Multiverse
this-
Monologues breaks the internet. We got this.
I just gotta say this, just to take a step back, that their list is just so bad that every podcast we have brought it up. That's how bad their list is. It's just hilarious in my mind.
Yeah, Iron Man 3,
can't argue
the
with
movie
that.
that we said was pretty good, is only 3 spots above this one.
Above?
Yeah. Guardians 2 is 6 spots
I
above
think
this
the
one.
definitive way you can tell how bad this list is where they threw the Avengers films.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah, Avengers should not be number 1.
No.
That one actually
I'm
do.
talking about the other two.
Oh, yeah.
The other ones.
Infinity War and Endgame being below 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
Insane.
on. Come on.
Absolutely atrocious.
Or I guess
But-
above, I don't know, lower than 30.
We're not here to talk about those movies, though. We're here to talk about Thor: The Dark World. So I'll shoot this to Mr. Het first. Micah, what do you think of Thor: The Dark
Overall,
World?
this movie was not as bad as I thought. I was going into this movie, I tried to wipe my expectations as much as possible, but I knew going in that this was going to be one of the not as good movies, okay? And what I got was, okay, I was surprised a little bit to see that it wasn't awful. Okay. That's as much credit as I'm going to give it.
As we know, like the MCU just by the lowest standard of what the MCU is, it just isn't awful.
Especially for what comes around it, though.
Right.
Like, this movie was just put in a bad spot. Right before this, Iron Man 3, The Avengers, the rest of Phase 1. After this, one of the best movies.
One of the best combos
ever
to come out. Like, we got
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, then right after that in
Guardians.
MCU-wise, Guardians.
Guardians. Big Hero 6 is in our Phase 2. I'm so
baby.
pumped. But we have so many good movies around this. I think it was just put in a bad circumstance. There are definitely parts of this movie that are still good. There are some great chase sequences, some good fight scenes. Not every fight scene hits the mark. Parker, I watched this movie with Parker. He said that a lot of the fighting was boring. He knows what to look for in the fight scenes and the choreography. And I did notice that there were some spots that weren't as tight as you'd want out of an MCU movie. They were waiting for cues. They like reached out, grabbed an arm, and then moved it. You know, it's a little sloppy in the choreography for fighting, but overall, it was entertaining. It got the job done. It was just, for me, the biggest sin that this movie does is the script. It does nothing special. Nothing about this script for me is set apart from a different movie. It's kind of the forgettable MCU movie that we have right now for this phase. Phase 1 had the Incredible Hulk. We're not going to remember what that plot's about. This one, we're going to remember, okay, there was the Ether, there was the Dark Elves. Who cares, right? They kind of forget about this plot later on.
Well, I would actually go so far as to disagree with you on that one.
About the plot coming back?
Yeah, in fact, it comes back a few times.
The end game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Endgame.
Endgame is actually this movie, because of Endgame, and that's another thing why
Oh,
this
you
is...
mean like Thor going back in time kind of thing?
Well, the plot of this, and that's why it's so interesting to talk about this movie, because it has been referred to many times down the road. And of course, after Love and Thunder, this movie might get better, like as far as age goes. How did it age after all this? So that's why it's kind of interesting to talk about. But you still hold to the fact that, it's still kind
I'm
of
not negative.
just...
I'm not positive. I think that as this is our last look at Shakespearean Thor, and I'm
You're taking
saying
it all
goodbye.
in.
Yeah.
I'm taking it all in.
Yeah.
If this is the last of Shakespearean Thor that we're ever going to get, then I'm fine with this send off. This was what I did like about, go back to what I did like. There were some great, this may be the last movie where we see Norse mythology playing a big part in a Marvel movie. And that's important to me too.
Yeah. Good
And
point.
I can talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
for Micah.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it definitely was not redeeming.
Right. And I think the main argument that comes up with this movie isn't that it is trash, is that in a MCU where the
grand scheme
standard
of the
was
multiverse.
little raised, it is a weaker one. I don't think any of us are going to sit here and say that this isn't one of the weaker MCU films, if not the weakest MCU film we've seen. I mean, we still have the Incredible Hulk that we'll throw in the mix and see where that falls. But yeah, I like that you said the script felt a little weak, and it did. I felt just watching the way the movie played out, it's like, this happens just so this can happen. This happens just so this can happen.
definitely.
And I'd say even my favorite part of this movie is a little sloppy, that being, of course, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, which he's fantastic as always. I just love seeing him portray that character. I think, to me, the biggest mistake this movie made was Frigga, her death. Not that they killed her, it's how they did it, because that death means a lot to Odin. It clearly means a lot to Loki. It means a lot to Thor, but it meant absolutely nothing to me as an audience member.
Yeah.
I don't care. I barely know this character. I want to be, to me, when a character dies, I want it to hurt just as much as it hurts the characters in this movie. I want to feel that death. So when they're, it's kind of hard to relate to what is happening to these characters, because I don't know. I barely knew her. It's all right.
But the movie doesn't make you care. It could have done that. It has a great funeral sequence with an excellent score accompanying that, send off. But right after that, it goes back to Earth, and it's a kind of a jokey little scene. You aren't able to live in that, and that's just a consequence of the MCU. But they could have let us live in that. Even when Loki dies, that you aren't able to live in that either.
They reveal it. Yeah, he's actually not dead.
Well, even then, it's just there's jokes right away after that. Thor is in the cave with Jane, and the phone starts ringing. He's like, "It wasn't me."
Who's that?
Your brother just died, dude. I agree with you on that. Great point, Ethan.
And then his death is further undertoned by the next scene with Stellan Skarsgård saying, "Yes, he's dead." Oh, I'm sorry. It didn't.
Yeah.
And to me, the absolute biggest sin of the MCU to this day is Heimdall. You had Idris Elba playing this absolutely awesome character. What does he do in this movie? What does he do in the first one?
Okay, he does have a pretty epic moment.
He
in
takes
this.
down a ship. That
was
sequence
epic.
is
That
really
was one of the
cool.
coolest parts
And I
of the
remember
movie.
my last rewatch, that's a scene that stuck out to me, him taking down that ship. But this is such a rich character, and you have the amazing Idris Elba. I was listening to, as I always do whenever Mr. Sunday Movies has a video. I always like to watch his videos about these movies. And he was like, Idris Elba is one of those actors where I sit there and I think, man, he would be great in the MCU. And then I remember, he is in the MCU. He is just one of those characters where I feel like they never truly touched his potential.
I'm just glad that he's in the Sonic Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Knuckles show coming soon, guys.
Well, so here's the issue with that, though, and you could say that's an issue for Lady Sif, for the Warriors 3, is that there is more of a focus, and in this movie as well, on the earthly characters. In a Thor film,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like, this is a Thor movie. I think we're at a point now. I mean, it's 2023, but even back then, I would say we're at a point, make it a full-on Asgard,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings style epic. You don't need to go back to Earth for this.
That was one of my critiques of the first movie. Remember, I said that I was like, okay, now that we've built the beginnings of this universe, I want to see them do a swashbuckling trip through all the realms, and they go just a little bit closer in this movie. I think that's where it leans into that a little more. So we're going to a few more realms. We're spending more time there, a little less time on Earth than the first movie. And that's good. It was in the right direction, and we brought humans to these other realms, and I think that was cool.
Yeah.
That was a good idea.
And I think something that happened when Taika Waititi took over the character is he made it more like MCU-esque. Like this movie's not perfect. That's what we're saying. This movie
Ragnarok feels more Star Wars.
This movie is very flawed. There's a lot, we'll get into it, but there's no denying, you turn it on, it feels Thor. It is its own thing. It's apart from the rest of the MCU. And I think that's something that really would benefit this character now. Is now you turn on a Thor movie, it feels like, all right, what is this? Is this a Guardians movie? I mean, Ant-Man has the same vibe to this now. There's no distinct tone. And I think even though these weren't critically loved, these first two, I think there is a benefit to sitting down to in a movie where all right, this will be different. This is different from the rest of this. I hate to say formulaic, but it's its own world. It's its own universe. And there's a lot of potential there.
It's funny you should say that, because there are, funny you should say about Thor and Ant-Man being on the same kind of vibe right now, because Thor and Ant-Man, the new ones, have the lowest scores out of any of the other Marvel movies, lower than Dark World. So
Across
it goes
everything?
Yeah. So our internet rankings, it goes Incredible Hulk, then Thor: The Dark World, and then skip a couple, Thor: Love and Thunder, then Eternals, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, Quantumania. Quantumania is our lowest rated one.
So
out of the MCU.
you look at the difference, Dark World and the first Ant-Man. Pretty big. That's a pretty big difference there. Two different movies. Ragnarok and Quantumania. Very similar right there. I think it's so easy. How can you fix this? It's very simple. Back in the day, you had the distinct tones. Now they had to switch it up. This was not working. This formula for Thor. Even Chris Hemsworth has been on record saying.
The entire cast is on record saying
They needed to be reworked just a little bit.
Yeah.
And sure, they may not have liked it, but they should have jumped into it more. I think they should have gone all in with what you were saying. It should have been more Lord of the Rings like. It shouldn't have been on Earth as much.
Well, famously, our man Shazam, Zachary Levi, is in this movie. Yeah, and he was supposed to be in the first one. Scheduling didn't work out, but he was talking to Feige or some higher up at Marvel. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna do more with the Warriors 3 in this movie?" They're like, "Heck yeah, we are." All right, I want to be in this movie.
He gets a sick little thing, and that's about it.
They do nothing. Yeah, like
he takes down a little skiff, and that's it.
I would much rather love to focus on those characters than the Earth characters. And I get they have to ground everything in Earth. We're Earthlings, unfortunately. So they have to somehow build a world in Earth. But do we?
What's the point of it being the Warriors 3 if you only see Zachary Levi in it? I couldn't tell who the other ones were. You don't see the three together doing Warriors 3 stuff.
Right. Hogan goes off to his own world the whole movie. Yeah.
What's the point?
Volstagg barely is even in it at all. I don't know. You don't need to ground it. These characters are all played by humans anyway.
They're wild.
And we see later in this phase, Guardians of the Galaxy does not take place on Earth.
There you go.
Well, they grounded in the second movie, not the first one.
Who's one of the most emotional characters in all the MCU?
Peter Quill.
Well, it's a freaking raccoon.
Oh, yeah.
It's a raccoon. Come on.
Even farther. A freaking tree.
A tree.
Like, dude, the moment that I, get emotional in Guardians of the Galaxy, we are Groot. A freaking tree.
Most emotional scene I've seen in cinema was a rock. 2 rocks, actually.
Facts. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, that is a great moment.
You can do so much with a character that's so unassuming because it subverts your expectations of what they can be. And Thor, did you feel Thor's hubris in this movie? That's one of his defining traits, is his ego, like his I'm powerful and then being humbled, right? You don't feel that in this movie.
I'd say he's a lot more likable in this movie, but also he has no arc in this movie. He's just Thor.
I didn't even think about the arc. There's
He's
no
just
arc.
Thor. Yeah.
I'm going to push back on that for a second because he learned that lesson of not having hubris in the first Thor. That was the whole point of Thor, but I do agree.
So then where they're supposed to take him from here?
Hubris,
Exactly.
but he learned to have humor, as we see.
There we go.
Right.
Humorous.
They kind of tie it at the end and say that I would rather be a good man than a great king. But the movie doesn't address that theme at all. So at the end of the movie, it's just one son who wanted a throne too much and one who would not take it, And it's like, was this even a thing in this movie? Not really.
No, it wasn't. But as far as like final scenes go in a movie, like we all knew that Loki wasn't dead. They kind of revealed that earlier in the film. Like, I think it would be a much cooler reveal if it's like he's sitting there and after you thought he was dead. Like, that could have been a post-credit scene even. Loki on the throne, but I think the ending with him on the throne is super cool.
Yes. And
shows the patience of the MCU, because this doesn't get paid off till 40 years later. in Ragnarok.
Yeah, right.
Like I love how slow the MCU moves at times. It really is patient.
So last thing I will point to as far as like plot and story wise goes to Alan Taylor, the director of this movie, who's famous for a lot of the Sopranos, and he did a lot of work on Game of Thrones. He's a very accomplished TV director. Took this movie. He had full creative freedom. I don't know if I should say full creative freedom because it's in the MCU. You kind of have to fit it into that narrative, but he had a lot of freedom to do what he wanted with this movie. And he said that after this movie, he finished filming, he was locked out of the editor's room and was not allowed to see the finished product until it was done. He was not involved in that. And he said he actually condemns the final product, saying there is a much better movie that I put together. It's just in the editing room. It did not come together.
Cut.
So there, I mean, as with most movies on this Marvel watch through, there's another cut out there, I guess. Is it any better than this?
Do we care?
Not really.
Do we care?
I don't.
We're in a time and a place where we don't care. What I do care about is Lady Sif stupid? Why do they give the Collector the stone? They kind of haphazardly throw it away like we can't
have it at the same place. That would make sense to me. They can't have.
Why the Collector?
That was my question.
Him?
I don't know.
He's the worst possible kid.
Because they had to start Guardians 3, Guardians of the Galaxy.
But
they had to start
that doesn't really even play into Guardians. It
like he's in there.
The character's there, but like, did this need to happen?
If we didn't get introduced to the Collector, we wouldn't have Howard the Duck in the MCU. And I think that is worth it in itself.
I'm saying the Collector is absolutely essential to Guardians, but why do they have to give him the Reality Stone? And why would they? That seems like it's not like this guy. I mean, I don't know who the Collector is in the greater universe, but they give it to him 6 seconds later. He's like, 5 more to go.
Yeah.
Like he's already like,
it's menacing.
Yeah.
But I think in the comics, the Collector is just that. He is simply, I don't even think if he had all 6, he's like wired just for collection. I gotta have everything, I want to have just all like 6. I know, right? So it's like I gotta have everything like this, and this is the way I want it. So maybe it's this guy's not gonna do anything with it. I agree that there's much better options.
Give it to Shield. Give it to someone on Earth.
Shield,
even.
sword, I was thinking of the Strange.
Captain America.
Any of those sorcerers.
Yeah.
Come on. There's much better options.
They didn't exist in the canon yet.
Oh yeah, and that's
Captain Marvel
too.
Come on.
James Gunn directed that post-credit scene. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he came in and he was like, "All right, it ties right into Guardians."
We get his MCU debut then.
Speaking of people who made this movie. Shout out to Don Payne. This was his last movie that he wrote before he passed away.
Done more Marvel movies, I'm assuming. I had not heard of this man until
he's not on my list.
Movie.
I don't know any Don Payne, but let me check him out real quick.
Yeah, there's a in memoriam of Don Payne in this thing. I will say probably my favorite part.
He wrote Thor.
He did write Thor. Okay.
He did Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. He wrote 300 episodes of The Simpsons.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Quite the resume.
Produced it.
Quite the resume.
But I will say that again, probably the best part of this movie is Loki.
Camp Laszlo.
I think so.
He's got to be. Yeah.
For a character that was written in, like you said, to the movie, every moment that he's in, his scenes with Frigga, when he's alone with Thor.
Scene with Frigga, maybe. She's kind of a projection. I don't know if...
No, that's a good one.
It's never explained if she's projecting herself in there or if he's projecting her in there. Like, is she real? We don't know. It's never answered. And
I believe she was projecting herself in there.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it.
In my mind, that's how I take the scene.
All right.
Like she has that power. We see her use it again right before her death. I think it's her. But I really like the scene, and he has the most emotional scenes, especially that scene on the skiff with Thor. Who put me there? Who put me there? She wouldn't want us to fight. That emotion right there, there's seeds of a great movie. I want to feel
that emotion. Yeah, they have it.
Yeah.
I want to have it.
I do. And in many ways, like, there are problems with this movie, mainly the villain. That's my main problem with this movie.
There's a villain in this movie?
Exactly.
What does he do?
Malekith, Christopher Eccleston is absolutely wasted in this movie. Every scene,
7 hours of makeup.
dude, they go back to him like every 10 minutes, and it's like, I will burn their world to the ground.
But in Elvish or whatever the language they're
that's
speaking
it.
is.
That's it. I will use this power. You will use this power to destroy them. 10 minutes later, the sun darkens. I will destroy their world. That's literally all he does. And so you have another MCU villain that is just absolutely wasted.
In the last fight, all he does is go, and then gets thrown across the little area that they got, and that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any cool fighting at all.
Nope.
And as he was throwing the ether, I was thinking, this is just like in Pokemon when you're just spamming the same move over and over again, and it's like he's learning, he's like dodging, and it's this guy was stupid. This was such an unmenacing villain.
It was like they took the Convergence, and then that was as far as they went for creativity as far as fighting goes.
Convergence, yeah.
Yeah, the what?
They set it up in the movie. It's when
When all 9 realms line up, we can see everything. Yeah, Heimdall had that cool little monologue about it. He was like, you can see everything. And then, oh, how's Jane? Oh, Jane's doing, oh, I can't see Jane.
No, wait. I can't see her. That power is kind of, it's kind of sus. I'm not going to lie.
I was thinking that.
Like, dude.
I've been looking at Jane for the...
Yeah, like,
where'd she go?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh no.
can he really look across all the 9 realms whenever he freaking wants? Because that's like, I mean,
You know
I guess
what they
you
say?
have,
You know what they say? With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
And Heimdall, he has a responsibility, okay? Okay.
It's true. If any character, he seems like a very honorable guy.
And I love that in the last movie they made it a big deal. No, the Bifrost has been destroyed. It's just back.
I thought it was going to be destroyed in this movie, too. When that ship fell on it, I thought it was going to be toast.
Oh, we're going again.
Next movie, I hope it doesn't break.
A sequence I really enjoy, the Invasion of Asgard. Really,
That was my favorite scene.
the fight, the whole space,
Very Star Wars-esque
battle.
with the ships going.
But like really good stuff,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The skiffs coming out and the shield they put up against Asgard. I think that is probably the best full on like 5-10 minute sequence in the film, because you also have right before that their little planning sequence, breaking Loki out of prison. I like that. That's really good. Especially Chris Evans has a cameo in this movie. We got to talk about another cameo as well, but Chris Evans, I can feel the power of America or whatever. That's good
God
stuff.
bless America.
That's great stuff. But the other cameo that I was thinking of was the Stan Lee cameo. It might be one of
Can
the
I have
best
my
ones.
shoe back?
Dude, it's so good. Beautiful. It's simple.
Yeah, I don't want to highlight this cast again. I just want to read some of the names in this movie because it's a stacked cast, and I think the product doesn't quite match the cast. We have, Chris Hemsworth, of course, Natalie Portman, Tom Hiddleston, Stellan Skarsgård, Anthony Hopkins, Christopher Eccleston, Jamie Alexander, Zachary Levi, Ray Stevenson, Idris Elba, and Adewale Anakoye, who plays the sidekick in this movie. And I don't know if you picked up on this, but that is the same actor who plays Mr. Echo in Lost. Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I was thinking of that the whole time. I was like, where do I know him from?
Ray
Who's that guy?
Stevenson. He was in RRR. Remember that Indian movie I was talking about?
Yeah.
And he's Gar Saxon.
He was also the Punisher in Punisher Warzone.
Oh, yeah, well, who cares?
He's also going to be in the Ahsoka show coming up.
Gar Saxon.
He's got
As
a career. He's got a career.
Balin Skull. What a weird name,
With
dude.
debut of the Orange Saber? Is that what that is?
They're crazy.
I can't get into this. I have so many theories about that guy. But yeah, Ray Stevenson as Volstagg, who has like one line, I think. It's like, if you betray him, I'll kill you. Which is a great response by Loki.
You know-
Kill you.
You know I had some whiplash in this movie. So right when they break Loki out of
That's
prison,
Iron Man 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, whiplash is in Iron Man 2. cinematography whiplash. We'll say that. Where right after they break Loki out of prison and they start walking down the hallway, all of a sudden it hard cuts to the planning room where Thor is sitting down with the other dudes around the table. And I'm like, what? And then Zachary Levi's character says something along the lines of, you can't do that. That's treason.
It's treason.
It's treason then. Yeah. And then we don't see that scene again for another 5 minutes. I thought that was the whole thing. But it seemed their original plan was to jump back and forth through that while they're breaking Loki out. Because then, after that 5 minutes, they come back to it a bunch of times.
But that's what they did, didn't they?
No. They waited a long time. There's a 2-second clip right when they break him out where they all sit down. They're like, it's not going to work.
Oh, I get you. Okay.
And then they come back to it 10 minutes, 5 minutes later, whatever. That's way too long for a cut like that.
Okay. All right.
That took so long. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, okay, is Thor in this room now or is he still with Loki? What's going on here?
Okay. All right. That's fair. That is fair. I didn't think of that while it happened.
Watch that scene again.
Okay.
It's insane.
Yeah, watch the scene again. Watch the movie again, Ben. Do it.
Thor the Snooze World?
So where does this fall on like runtime? Do you have a runtime?
This is our, to date, like as of right in this part of the timeline, it is tied with The Incredible Hulk for the shortest MCU movie at 1 hour and 52 minutes.
I don't know if I think this movie is
It's a good,
as long as it needs to be.
yeah.
I don't want to watch any more of this movie.
It either has to be a little shorter or much, much longer with a lot more weight.
So if Deadpool is not is Deadpool canon? I don't know. That would be the shortest movie then. Deadpool's at 1 hour 58
Shortest?
for shortest MCU movie. Dark Phoenix, funny enough, our other movie with Dark in the title is 1 hour 53. Now that I'm looking at our
the
list
shortest
here.
movie of all of
The
them.
next one would be Doctor Strange at 1 hour 55 and Thor at 1 hour 55.
That's a good runtime. Like that's
is.
just a good way to sit down. There's enough meat on the bone.
Yeah. By the time I felt like I was ready to be done with the movie, there was 20 minutes left.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this. This movie never made me bored. I was never bored watching this movie. And that's purely subjective. When I was watching the movie, I was never like, oh boy, let's get this over with.
Yeah. I wasn't bored. I was just kind of like,
Well, you
All
could
right.
say it moves too
when's
fast.
the exciting
in
stuff
points.
gonna happen? When are we
Yeah.
gonna when are we gonna get into the meat?
we have seen so many movies now on this rewatch to where it's like this movie, it doesn't even this is good compared to most of what we've gotten on this rewatch, at least in my opinion.
Don't you miss the awful though?
No,
The awful.
Oh, we've still
The
got it
Ghost
coming,
Rider, the
believe me.
Electras. Come on.
they saved a couple for us. They said, we haven't made a bad movie in a while, and then they made New Mutants.
But around about 4
believe
years since
me.
we made a bad Fan Four Stick.
Fan Four
Let's do it.
Stick.
Let's make them one.
Dude.
The worst rated movie according to the internet.
all time.
Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, even more than Elektra, even more than everything else.
I'm not gonna lie. Those other movies I hadn't seen, so at least I was watching something new. I've seen Fan Four Stick, guys.
I haven't.
I'm actually dreading watching that
I
movie.
learned something about Fan Four Stick about the It's Clobbering Time lore. Insane to me.
Can we watch that movie together,
Yes,
please?
it's
Haven't we
done.
watched
It will
every
happen.
Fantastic Four movie together, or did we just watch the first one together?
Did we watch Silver Surfer together?
I know we did not watch Silver Surfer. I remember I watched that in school
Okay.
in class.
Well, Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
We're talking
Anyway,
about this one this
yeah.
week. And
Sorry, I had to reassure myself that I was going to be able to make it through Fan
how's the
Four
score?
Stick.
How's the score?
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you for mentioning that. I do not
Brian
want to be remiss.
Tyler.
Great score for this movie. Thor has always had good music, except for actually in Love and Thunder, which is the reason why I just hate that movie. But
You might know Brian Tyler from Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Super Mario Bros. A great score in that
Oh,
movie,
man,
dude.
really.
Fantastic. But he also did the music for Iron Man 3 a couple weeks ago.
Peaches.
But
Whoa, wait a minute.
What?
Oh, wait, no. Brian Taylor directed Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh,
Sorry.
Different guy.
Different.
But he has a
Different
great
Brian.
Too much
score
peak.
for
Yeah, too
Asgard, and I think his best track for this movie
Age
is
of
Into
Ultron.
Eternity. The score really hits as she's going across, and she gets sent off into the afterlife. To go to Where's the Viking afterlife?
Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which we know Heimdall's there too. So
yes. Would be nice to see Frigga there.
I forgot
Of course, it would've
about
been too nice.
the Valhalla thing at the end of Love and Thunder.
If
Yeah, right.
if
that
they
was the
can,
only cool thing to come out.
I try and
if they
forget
can
about that
somehow
movie.
bring Idris Elba back and do more with him, I'd be excited. So
Maybe a future Thor movie would be that swashbuckling, separated from Earth adventure. We can only dream.
he has a kid now though, so they'd have to work around a child.
Let's just have a Heimdall movie.
Heimdall. Yes.
No, we really need it on his son, Heimdall's kid.
Oh
Yeah. Oh boy.
Grant you the powers of Thor.
Let's save Love and Thunder for Love and Thunder.
Exactly, but that's another thing. It brings up a great point. I think Love and Thunder makes this movie better, just because of
does.
how bad
By
this movie.
comparison.
Because Thor is so great in this movie. I think just because of how serious he is and how serious he takes
How
everything.
terrifying he is. Yeah, you have like a very David and Goliath-esque moment with the Korg creature. In the opening of the movie, he's just like,
How about his entrance, man?
yeah, very
The
cool.
It was you see the hammer go. Was that the first time we see it do that thing where he throws
back
it and
to
then
him?
it comes back?
no.
that?
I think we.
Every movie ever with
No,
Thor.
no. I thought there was something special with
clarify,
this one.
Clarify what you mean by this.
I thought there was something special
Like
with
the
this one.
effect
Like
with how
the
it
first time
threw?
I don't know.
It definitely stood out. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know
stood
if it's
out. It
the
was
first
good.
time it flew.
Well, I
through
like
the air
how
like
it goes
that.
back to him and the Bifrost fades away and it just catches it right there.
Yeah, that was good.
Very epic, dude. Very epic entrance. And then as he kills that Korg creature. Korg is small. Is he
Korg is
not?
small. Yeah.
Are they usually that big?
Korg is much smaller.
Like way smaller than
Korg
that
is
thing. That
probably
thing's
a
huge.
runt of the litter.
Oh yeah, probably.
Well, one Mjolnir thing. I was thinking about the first movie. One Mjolnir thing I did like about this movie was when
When he
he hangs it up.
Yeah.
When he-
yeah, that was improvised. I'm pretty sure.
I really liked the Mjolnir stuff when he's going between the realms. How whenever he goes into a new realm, Mjolnir changes directions and starts flying out of the atmosphere, and then it catches on fire going through the. That was pretty cool. I like that part.
Yeah,
with it.
him putting
there
it
are
on
some
the-
cool elements in this movie.
Him putting it on the hook, like I'm excited for the one of the best sequences in
That hook is
Age
worthy.
of Ultron. Yeah, but the elevator still
Elevator's
goes up.
not worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for Age of Ultron,
It's gonna
man.
be fun. Yeah.
Well, okay, so do we have anything else we want to mention before we go to favorite characters, favorite scenes, and then obviously we give our
Stellan
score.
Skarsgård was not so stellar.
Well, he was nude for half the
Yeah,
film, so
he was kind of off his
Running
game
off
for
the
this.
Like I said, the
Stonehenge.
cast is great. What they do with them,
Odin,
not.
I think, wasn't that great in this movie. I think that he was off his game too. His delivery felt a bit
he was almost
monotone.
race. He's like, she's human.
Oh,
You
I
can
was
tell.
talking about that.
One thing I noted was, yeah, Odin he just wants Thor to be with Lady Sif. That's all he wants. He's even like nudging him, like, come on, up.
you would be better served by what's before you. Yeah. Just straight up.
He's like,
man.
please.
Well, even in I don't know if you guys thought this, but the movie starts also with the Marvel Studios intro.
That's
not
right.
fully with the title crawl that we know
not
now.
not the fanfare
old
either.
one.
Different theme.
But different theme, yep. But this is the silver sheen on the title Marvel
Says
Studios.
Marvel Studios. Yeah.
But when he starts monologuing at the beginning, it's
Starts
very quick.
monologuing.
He starts monologuing. It's very quick. And it's just, all right, we're into this now. The Dark Elves, they do this and they do this. And he's just setting it up everything. And it's like, okay, all right, we're quick into it. It's not as natural as the first one, I think. And, I feel that. But I agree. Odin is not on his game, on his top notches, I guess,
No.
in this one. But I guess with that, gentlemen, we're going to go to favorite characters. There's a lot of them in this movie. And I'll shoot this to Micah first. What is your favorite character in Thor, The Dark World?
Favorite character in this movie? I'll go with Loki. I think that he was the only character in this movie
No,
that
you shouldn't go with him.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
terrible pick.
I won't go with Loki. I'll go
Great
with
pick.
Frigga.
You could, honestly. She's
No,
got some good moments.
I think she's ended too quick. I think that she doesn't get enough screen time.
That's fair.
In this movie, and that's what hurts her character the most. For Loki, I think he also could have had more screen time. He felt like every scene that was so emotionally impacting in this movie was from him. Like he I loved his reaction to Frigga's death. He holds it in, and then he like throws the stuff around.
Yeah.
And one, you can't see his face, but you can tell by his body language that he's upset about this, and he doesn't let people know how he feels normally.
He has some
and then he masks himself with the illusion later on, and then he has his hair non-gelled for the first time we see in the, I think the only time we see his hair naturally out, right?
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, now you see me for who I am," or
Now
whatever.
you see me, brother.
Now you see me, brother.
Yeah.
That part was good.
He also has some really snarky lines in this movie. Like
Yeah.
everyone's telling him, if you betray him, I'll kill you. And
He's the
like,
only one I laughed at of this
evidently
movie.
that will be a line.
When this movie is mainly focused as an action comedy, it forgets the comedy quite a bit.
And the comedy that it does have does not always hit.
The Captain America cameo is the best part of this movie.
Yes.
Comedy-wise.
all the great stuff that is worked into this movie happens with Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah.
Loki.
There's no wonder why my cousin had a huge crush on him.
You have to wonder what the heck was this movie before they threw him in the mix.
It's probably bad.
Yeah, probably. Great pick for Loki. Ethan.
Let's go. I'm going to go with Richard Madison.
We didn't even talk about him yet.
I'm playing. I'm not picking him.
The guy Jane
He's
goes
the guy
on a date with.
Jane goes on a date with.
The intern?
Not the intern, no.
Oh.
The
The other guy. The British guy.
other guy. Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that she kept sleeping with other dudes. Oh, so many. Dude, he was great.
Took a long time on this menu. I noticed there was only 3 things on here.
I don't know. There's not a lot of like even Thor, I'd say, doesn't have too much, and there's not a standout scene for Thor. I think my favorite scene. We're gonna do favorite scenes next, but I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Loki 2. I don't think there's a lot on the board for
The
this
sequel.
This movie. I'm just gonna take Loki 2. Let's get a Loki season 2. There we go. I'd take Loki. I really like him. Tom Hiddleston, perfect casting. Great. Just it is so fun to watch, and I love it that all these years later he's still fun to watch playing this character. So he brings a lot to the
Never had
role.
a bad outing.
Yeah, the charisma, and I think Thor: Love and Thunder would have definitely benefited from having him in the mix in some way. So I just like him. He brings a lot to the role, and he's just so witty, so fun, so mischievous. It's good. I like him.
I'll take Thor then, because I do think there is
He has some good spots.
his last ending scene, and especially the action with his hammer and everything. Like the way he faces down Malekith at the end is really good, and I like his last scene with Odin. Very good. It's not my favorite scene, but it's just his
With
conversation. That
Not Odin.
Well, true. It
Right.
is, and that kind of undercuts it. But his conversation that he has with his father, or Loki, you could say, one son who wanted the throne too much, one who didn't want it at all, and I would rather be a good man than a great king. Like that's such an honorable thing, man. Like I really like that scene, and I think that Thor throughout this movie is just on a quest of just kind of, where is my place? What am I going to do now that, I'm basically just bringing peace to the 9 realms? And so he kind of goes on this journey. It's not very well thought out, but I just like seeing Chris Hemsworth play this character and take it seriously. And he does that in this movie, and that's why he's my favorite character.
If we didn't have the super creative ways that they use Mjolnir in the Avengers movie, I think this would have been my favorite instance of Thor. Because of the hammer action that we see in this movie. I loved the hammer stuff, but it's just nothing compared to the Avengers.
Yeah.
How he uses it with Iron Man and with Cap, it's just unparalleled.
Agreed.
What they did with that
Hulk
movie. They
trying
can't top
to pick
that.
it up.
Yeah. They don't have any of those cool Mjolnir moments like that. And one thing I did want to mention real quick is the money that this movie made. Because with it being a failure, as people say, being so bad, it's amazing that this made it was just about the same success as The Winter Soldier.
Winter
Wow.
Soldier did not make that much money.
It didn't make that much money. Yeah. So the budget for this movie was 150 million, right? 150 million, and it made 640 million.
So it definitely made his money.
Barely
back.
made any
And
money.
Winter Soldier
Yeah,
was
right.
170 million, and then made 700 million.
So about
So
the
the
same.
ratio, the Dark World was more of a success than Winter Soldier. Which is weird because
Interesting.
we
right.
consider Winter Soldier as higher. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Stay tuned.
In our rewatch. Yeah.
I'm going to say definitively right now, the Winter Soldier is definitely better than Dark World.
But yeah, Dark World made more. Wait. Let me organize for money just in general. It made more than Ant-Man and the Wasp, Iron Man 2, Logan, Deadpool 2, which surprised me. Iron Man, like it made all this money.
It's an MCU movie, man.
It's an MCU movie.
Right after the Avengers,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are going to see this.
This
People
is
are
a
definitely
November
gonna see
release. This was yeah.
So as far as weak villains go, how do we feel about this?
Weak.
This is pretty not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like as
Is
far
there-
MCU wise, is this
there
our
a
weakest
worse?
villain?
Villain in
one
the
is
MCU.
weak. There's nothing really memorable about this
'Cause
character.
at least like we got Tim Roth in the Incredible Hulk. We
Who's
think
great.
We think he's pretty good. I think he is, right?
So far, I mean,
MCU wise
agreed.
right now, but I mean the Greater Marathon. I don't even remember who the villain was in Howard the Duck or Elektra. Daredevil was whatever.
Kingpin. That's cool.
I
Kingpin.
know Kingpin and
was the
Bullseye,
dude
but
from
they're
Green Mile.
whatever. Whatever.
So bad,
I don't
dude.
want to think about those movies.
Yeah.
This may be the dark world, but those were the dark times. Okay.
Indeed.
That was when Marvel was literally bankrupt.
You could tell. Favorite scene? Micah.
The infiltration on Asgard was my favorite scene.
Cool.
Great one.
When the ships are flying in, Heimdall takes out that one, and then all 50 billion of them start flying out. That is the one scene that I remember from watching it originally, way back when. Well, I don't know when I watched it originally, but I remember laying in bed thinking, "Whoa, those ships had such cool maneuvers." It felt like a Star Wars space battle.
I know. Oh, that movie was great.
That shot of Heimdall as he takes it down and then he looks back up
It's like, oh,
at
crap.
the freaking ship.
Like
It's
6
huge.
more.
Oh, that was
Great
another thing
shot.
I wanted
Great
to talk
shot.
about. This was one of the movies that inspired my like childhood playtimes with the neighborhood kids out in the
This movie
the
was?
woods. Yeah.
Really?
So, you'd hang out and then there'd be this one kid who didn't want to do anything. That's me. And I would pretend I would have the lazy writing, right? I would say, I'm a good guy, but I turn evil. And the ether, I don't know what the ether was called at the time. I called it the red dust. The red dust, I go to this thing and then all of a sudden the red dust goes all over me. And now I'm an evil guy, but you don't know it yet. And when you touch me, I explode. That was me when I was little. That was my character that I played when I was LARPing out in the wilderness.
Canonically, in real life.
Canonically in real life,
You're about
that's me.
12 at the time?
I was like,
You're
what was it?
In
2013.
the canon of Micah.
2013. I was 11.
You're a little too old to.
I was 5th grade, bro.
Oh, dude, no way. I was
Okay.
doing that. I was doing that fifth
All right.
grade.
Oh
Fair.
yeah,
All
5th
right.
grade.
So how did
playing
this
out.
movie inspire playtime? I missed it.
The story that Natalie Portman's Jane Foster
Oh,
getting like the evil whatever
the ether.
the ether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would pretend to get ether.
I would pretend to get ether, and then also other times we would jump around and we'd have our knives and we'd break the ships like Heimdall.
Very epic.
Yeah,
Awesome.
those were sick moments for
a
me as a kid.
Quintessential movie for
Yeah, this was a fun movie when I was a kid.
you.
Wow.
Nostalgia.
Very
Pouring
good.
in.
That's my nostalgia for this movie.
Ethan, do you have moments like that as a kid, as it relates to Thor: The Dark World?
Definitely with other movies, not as it relates to Thor: The Dark World. Definitely not. This movie is fine. My favorite scene.
yeah.
Favorite scene. I like the scene when they go to the Dark World and Loki's like, I hate my brother. He cuts Thor's hand off, and you think for half a second, even on this rewatch, I'm thinking, what? His arm? But then I remember
I was like, this is just like Empire.
In fact, Kevin Feige has stated that this is the Empire Strikes Back of the Thor trilogy, Sega, whatever you want to call it. Definitely not as good as Empire.
But I like that. I like one of my favorite movie series is Mission Impossible, and what Mission Impossible is famous for is the mask. Like you pull the mask off, and a situation is completely different from what you thought it was. I like that. You think Loki's evil. He's working with Malekith, but then, oh, no. He's actually working with Thor, and Thor's hand reappears. I like that. I think it's really cool, and I think they can do a lot more stuff like that with Loki, like a Loki Doctor Strange movie. I think that would be really cool. Something like that,
agree.
like where it's so trippy, you don't know what's going on. Everything you're watching could be revealed to be fake. I think that would be really fun, but yeah, I like that scene. That's my favorite scene.
We could get that in the future. There are two main players in the MCU right now.
In the multiverse.
Yeah. My favorite scene also happens with Thor and Loki in the Dark World, and that's on their skiff. Like, just far and above my favorite scene in this movie as they sit there and talk about Frigga's death and and it ends really nicely with Thor saying, "I wish I could trust you, brother." And Loki kind of just looks at him real quiet, no music playing, and he's like, "Trust my rage." And it just stops real nice like that. Their whole conversation, the emotion is there. Their relationship up to that point is there. I love everything to do with that scene, and the dialogue is very good. That's my favorite scene. But now, gentlemen, we come to my favorite time in the review as we talk about it, and it's the scoring. Where will Thor: The Dark World land? Because it's critically maligned, but this is only the 7th or 8th maybe MCU movie on the list in the 31 films now that we have reviewed. So where's it going to fall? Micah, I'm going to shoot it to you first. What is your score for Thor: The Dark World?
Oh boy. Thor: The Dark World. Such a controversial movie. It has so many essential points of the MCU. I'd say that this isn't a movie you should skip. This isn't a movie you should skip, but should you watch this again? No.
It's not a movie you should skip, but should you watch it ever?
I think that we didn't talk about it, but the Kat Denning portions of this movie are probably my least favorite. The Natalie Portman parts could have been way better. The intern stuff is just garbage.
Love to interns, though. Shout out to interns everywhere, all right?
Anti-Stellar Skarsgård, not very good. But everything around that, everything that wasn't that, pretty okay. And with that, I got to give this a 6.6 out of 10.
6.6? Okay.
6.63 point repeated out of 10. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely that point. Yeah.
Like
Agreed.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say it's essential viewing, but should you watch it twice? No.
Is that your weakest MCU film to date?
No, he gave Incredible
Iron Man
Hulk.
2 was 6.6.
You gave Incredible Hulk a 5.
Hulk was a 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Hulk was okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say this is around the same level as Iron Man 2 to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit better than Howard the Duck. Can you believe that?
I cannot.
We got to rewatch Howard the Duck. When we're done with all this, we could go back to the beginning just for one movie.
Our controversial takes.
Howard.
Our
Yeah,
hottest
we'll
takes.
revisit all the hot takes.
Yeah.
Punisher
I like that.
Warzone.
I like that.
Not, or the first
Not
Punisher.
Warzone.
My score. Let's do this. Yeah. This is often considered a low point in the MCU. And I think that is very much agreeable where we're sitting right now. It's easy to say, no. That's a good movie. It's underrated. Is it though? I think it's properly rated amongst critics and fans. I think it is right where it needs to be. Like Micah said, I'm going to steal your direct quote for how you review the movie. It's pretty okay. I think that is a good way to put it. It's pretty okay. Nothing really stands out, but nothing really like makes me go, wow, that was absolutely dog trash. That was horrible. No, nothing makes me do that. So I think my lowest rated movie in the MCU is Incredible Hulk at a 6. So I think I want to not decide right now which one's better. I also want to put this at a 6. Just 6.
Tied in runtime, tied in scores.
Yes.
All right.
All righty then. So 6 and a 6.6. I think I'm going to go a little bit higher than both of you guys because, as I said, this really gets better after you have seen, experienced, and then raged at Thor: Love and Thunder. How serious he takes the character, again, is so great. And it makes this movie better. Villain's horrible. The humor doesn't work at times. And there are some moments in the story that don't work. But is it the worst movie we've seen on this watch through? Definitely not. There's a lot worse movies on this list. And I think with these two guys, I'm not even mad at you. Like, not at all. Like, this, absolutely, I don't fault you guys for saying this. I think it's a little bit better than that, though, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Wowee.
So,
Okay.
I really do. These Thor movies on this rewatch have been a welcome surprise at how much I've liked them this time around.
Yeah. But no one cares about our individual scores. I don't even care about them. What matters is where it falls when we average our scores and throw it into the ranking. So,
That's
Micah,
right.
what do you got for us?
So, with me at a 6.6, Ethan at a 6, and Ben at a 7, that averages out to a 6.53,
Okay.
putting us at 17th place.
Okay. That's
Top
right.
20.
Top
Top
20.
20. Just above Fantastic Four at a 6.5, and just below X-Men The Last Stand at a 6.63.
Under Last Stand. Wow.
So this is a 6.53.
This is a 6.53. Fantastic Four is a 6.5.
Okay.
Under the Last Stand.
Onto The Last
Okay.
Stand. That's right. Yeah.
That's
Didn't quite hit our top 15. Didn't quite hit our top. No way, close to our top 10.
no.
But in our top 20. So
So when we started this out and we said,
this is movie
you know,
31.
is it as bad as people say? You know,
Maybe.
it's pretty much
Maybe.
right where people say it is.
right
We
where it
said
deserves to
it's
be.
better than Incredible Hulk, though, and that's
This isn't a
Hidden
an Iron
gem.
Man 3 or a
Punisher.
X-Men First Class where we realize, oh crap. It was funny. I made the YouTube short the other day for X-Men First Class, and I had to say in the short that fans liked it, while knowing dang well that us three did not like it. So
Utter garbage.
so
You know
bad.
what's not utter garbage though, gentlemen? Next week on our
sir.
list,
Next
you have
peak.
Captain
Oh, nice.
America, the Winter Soldier,
Yeah,
man.
baby.
I am so excited.
Winter
Finally.
Soldier.
Yeah, dude. Who's the
The
Winter
winner.
Soldier, man? Oh, man.
Dude, I saw the trailer before The Dark World.
Winter
It was on
Soldier.
my Blu-ray. I
Yeah.
saw the trailer, and I was like, who's this dude that looks like Bucky Barnes?
Oh, it's Bucky.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. If you one
Spoilers.
quick little Google search, who is Winter
It's
Soldier?
Bucky, but he's got his arm.
That's funny. Or we'll talk about it next week. We'll
Yeah,
talk about
that's
it next
right.
week.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
Do you have a synopsis for us for next week?
The Winter
Oh,
Soldier.
you're just gonna cuff
There-
it.
I'm gonna cuff it. This is a bit of it. I'm gonna do this with all the synopsis. now.
There's
It's more fun.
language.
It is a movie.
It sure
It follows
is a
Captain
movie.
America. It's a sequel. Stars him, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, Nick Fury, maybe Bucky Barnes. Who knows?
What do you
maybe
mean, Bucky Barnes?
Maybe that'll be. I don't know. Is he alive?
Falcon?
We don't know.
It's
Falcon.
his
We get Anthony
debut.
Mackie's introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie, and basically it's espionage. Hydra is afoot. They're embedded in something. Hint, hint. It's what Captain America holds. A shield.
Now, before you go any further, I would like to get off.
oh, nice. Very good. Well, we're definitely going to be.
Oh, that was the end of 2013, and our average score for 2013 was a 7.28.
Where does that put that year?
Third best year.
Third best year. Wow.
Third best year. Yeah.
I predict this year will be our best year.
2014?
2014. We're
Ooh.
entering 2014 now.
What does 2014 look
Yeah.
like, real quick?
We've got Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Peak.
Peak.
The Avenger. Not the Avengers. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Peak.
That I haven't seen that one. That's a new one for me. X-Men: Days of Future Past. Peak. Days of Future Peak.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Big Hero 6. Peak.
Come on.
Our first animated movie.
All four of those movies,
5.
all five of those movies I'm into.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch them.
Then the next year, that's a good one. Ultron, Fan Four Stick, Ant-Man,
What is that? What was the third one?
Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
That's a movie
okay.
I haven't seen.
You haven't seen it? Yeah.
No.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will get there, ladies
We
and
definitely
gentlemen.
have some peak coming up, guys, and I'm excited to see what we're doing. Here,
So next week, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
yes.
Strap in your shields. We thank you for sticking around for this long.
Get on your
We
motorcycles.
appreciate it. That's right. And for now, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wensloff.
This is Micah Head.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.